Hello again, traders. This is Jeff, the Day Trade Mechanic. In today's video, I want to add some detail to a video that I made a few weeks ago. And the content of that video was how to zoom and keep zoom on thinkorswim charts, how to draw a price line, and how to add text. And I'll link to that other video in the description here. So I'm using UPRO as an example, and we'll talk about that towards the end of this video. I'm actually in a UPRO trade right now. So what I noticed was happening with my text as time marches on, as we get more data on the charts, these text notes stay where I keep them, and in some cases they just disappear from the chart entirely. So I was thinking, how do I move this text note on the chart? Well, after a little bit of trial and error, it's actually pretty simple, and I'll show you now how to do this. So with the normal drawing tool that I use, I've got the crosshairs and the arrow up. So simply click on the note, and it will highlight or activate the note, and it will change color. Notice what my cursor does, or what my arrow pointer does. It changes to 4 arrows. Left click the mouse and hold the button, and as you move the mouse, the note can be moved. So let's drop that note off someplace, and left click anywhere on the chart. The note is no longer active and the text is going to stay put. It will stay where you leave it. Well, I don't want to leave it there. So generally, I like to put these notes somewhere along my price line. So I will put it there where it's in nice view for me. Now the other thing I did on the first video was how I access the drawing tools. And what I did was I would go up here to the top of the chart for the drawing tools. I would left click, scroll down to drawing tools, and then move the mouse over to the right and then use whatever I wanted to use. Well, there's a much simpler way to access those. Towards the bottom of the chart, see the arrow here? This is the active tool. If you just left click that, it brings up your tool menu and you have all your choices here with one click. Now there's one other thing I want to show about this text here, so let's click the T here, or our text note tool. Note how my arrow changes to a pencil. So if I want to do something with this note, if I want to activate this and move it, and I left click, look what happens. I get a new window up because the platform thinks I want to enter a new text note, which in this case I do not. So I'll cancel out of that. So within the text note tool, if I right click over my text and I left click activate drawing, it does the same thing as it did when I was in my normal pointer mode. My note is activated, and when I hover over it, my cursor changes. I left click and hold the mouse button. I can drag, I can move this text and drop it wherever I want to. I left click in the chart and the note stays put. So again, we'll right click, we'll left click activate drawing, and I'll move the note back where I want to put it. And there we go. So let's get back to my normal drawing tool here, which is this. And I want to get rid of some of this chart data. And this date here is the 28th of September. So let's get rid of some of that data. Okay, so on to the second part of this video. Why did I take this trade? Well, the markets had been down since the August highs. We were close to, and actually we had broken through the June lows, and I thought there was maybe some decent support here. So I used UPRO because it's an ETF of the S&P 500. It's optionable, it has weekly options, and the options are usually fairly expensive for this product. So I did a buy right. I bought the stock, I sold a covered call. And on the 28th of September, you know, we were down, we'd been down about a week in a row, and we were starting to put in a nice day. So let me show you the entire trade, and we'll navigate over to my spreadsheet. Okay, here is my spreadsheet. This is how I track my trades. and we'll just go over this a step at a time. If we look down in the lower left-hand corner where it says Stock Trades with the green rectangle, on this date I bought 100 shares total, and the price to purchase was $30. 30 times 100 is $3,000, so I paid $3,000 to get into the trade. And if we go up to the upper right now, to the yellow rectangle where it says average cost, there's some info up there, and there's some formulas in these spreadsheets to where I don't have to do a lot of typing. The information is automatically placed where I want it to. So I've got 100 shares, $3,000 cost. The total option premium I've sold so far is just under $243. We subtract that from the price I paid for the shares. So this is my net cost total. And then per share cost is $30, and my per share net average is $27.57. Now over to the left under the options trade rectangle, these are all the calls I've sold. The date I've opened the trade, the quantity, the strike price I sold. In this case they were all call options. The options expiration date, the credit that I received, the total credit, not the credit per share, because we know options are quoted in pennies but trade in, well, one option equals 100 shares. So my commissions and fees, and then my net profit, and I auto sum that, and then that's brought over to these averages and the trade results. Now one other thing that I like to track is the stock price. And this is the stock price when I sold the call. So I actually waited a little while that day before I sold my call, because I bought the shares at 30 and the shares were trading 30.58 when I sold that call. And I get this information from text alerts. One thing I really like about the platform is I get text alerts whenever I get a fill, and that's a stock trade or an option trade. And from that text alert, it tells me the stock price when I'm filled on an options trade. And it's just something I like. It's something I put in my notes, and just something I like to track. My plan for this trade when I took it was the options will either expire worthless and I'll write a call the next week, or the option will expire in the money and I'll get my shares called away and the trade will be done. So far I've written 4 call options above my cost, and every week they've expired worthless. So this is actually the 20th of October. It's Wednesday, so we got about, no, this is Thursday, I'm sorry. This is the 20th. So we got a little more than a day, about a day and a half left. And let's go back to the chart here. So if UPRO closes under 33 and I expire worthless, then that's fine. I'll look to write another call on Monday. If we'd rally and I'd get called away, then the trade will be over with. Well, I think that's about all for today. As I said earlier, I will link the previous video in the description, and I also did a video about the UPRO trade when I entered it. I'll link that as well. If you enjoy this content, I would appreciate it if you'd like the video, maybe even subscribe to the channel. Until next time, thank you so much for watching,